Just so. We will start with the group one, and if I remember well, it's Markus. He will give us a short report of transformation by digitalization.
So, hello, welcome. We discussed the digital transformation and the connection to older adults or older age. First, we give a short introduction in digitalization, digitization and digital transformation, and that this process influence all areas of life, not only from older age, but also from all ages. And the problem is that the digital or the driving forces for digital transformation is research, technology on the one side and economy on the other side, and the systems of policy, politics and polity, and as well as society, this is not really seen. So we discuss about economy and about research, but not about the social questions, and that must be more in the focus. And in this connection, we discussed also that older people are not only of digital devices,
само потребители на цифрови технологии, устройства.
One moment, someone is phoning, and so it's disturbing. Yes, now you can continue.
Okay, so what we discuss
that
older people, no, the translation is also here on this channel. Should I go forward or?
Yes, I hope.
Okay.
The right person to stop.
Okay.
Yes.
So what we discuss is that older people must be involved in these discussions, and that their life and work experience must be integrated in the question, how would we like that the digital world works, and that it will be not only a digital world, it must be also a better world. And in this connection, we discussed also new concepts of lifelong learning. And the second lecture was about the question, how can we involve older people in the public sphere? So I think it is nearly close to the first question. The question is, how can we, what can we do that older people are not be excluded by this digital transformation? And one aspect in our discussion was that the relationship and the face-to-face contacts are still necessary and very important, not only for older people, but especially but also for older people. And we see the COVID-19 pandemic also as a great opportunity, because we in this situation, not only Eloy, but also on Danube-Networkers, but also other education organizations worked and foster and strengthen this digital media and the use also by older people. But it was not only an opportunity, it was also a big problem, because such older people who has no access to the internet and to new media, we lost them, because we have no chance to take them into the digital world without face-to-face contacts. And so this must be, or is, a challenge and a task for the future, to involve also such older people who has no access to the digital world. And last but not least, we discussed also about the different situations in Bulgaria, Serbia, Italy, Moldavia, and Germany, but it was not really systematically. And maybe this could be also a task for Danube-Networkers and Eloy to make it more systematically, to see how is the situation in the different countries and what can we do in concerning to new concepts of lifelong learning in these different countries. And maybe it is a task for Danube. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Markus. Yes, it's a big challenge and a big task. Is there someone who will add something or just ask a small question? Guckst du? Give a sign, please, if it is the case. Nobody? So we will follow and we will combine all the questions at the end. Matthias, workgroup 2, use of online tools in practice.
Yes, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Also a very interesting group, also obviously very related to the topic that we are all undertaking today. How can we use the new tools to communicate between our organizations? We had a very diverse group, very diverse backgrounds, both in terms of where people actually work, where they come from, what their experience are, but also geographically, reaching from Ireland through all of the Danube region, all to India. So very, very different backgrounds put together in this working group. With regards to the topics, we had two very, very interesting presentations which looked at the issue at hand from two different angles. One was basically looking very much on the tool sets that are at hand for us. How can we use in an easy way all these kind of smart translation tools, mind mapping tools, to get people together in a very low technical manner, so that they can actually collaborate across borders in a rather simple way. And how to, on top of that, how to get people organized or self-organized, that it's not just organizations such as Eloy who foster this kind of communications, but that takes on a life on their own. And I could kind of get the spirit or kind of the enthusiasm that one of the side effects of the COVID crisis has been that the practitioners here are quite excited by a lot of these possibilities that they have discovered, and especially with regards to how can we actually involve people with restricted mobility, elderly, etc. People maybe we don't have the fun to travel all that much. Then we had a second presentation who took a different perspective on this issue. How do we actually create connections online? How do we create a personal, emotional connection? What's the emotional side to this? How can we create people or people also motivated, or how do we get them to open up in such an environment, online environment? And I heard a couple of very new concepts for myself, such as deep listening. How we can we get people not just to watch this like a TV show, but to get emotionally involved and to reflect and to open up on this. And how to create such an atmosphere on a screen, also a kind of group on a screen who trusts each other. Very interesting thoughts here on the table, and very, very, and of course, like we are all at the moment, the groups are experimenting a lot. And I also liked the question or the sentence that they put, that mistakes are opportunities to learn. And these kind of settings, mistakes are natural, but we are also learning a lot at the moment. After these debates, we split up the group into smaller settings, and discussed a bit more in detail this issue, or maybe Mike is something completely different, but it was very interesting also to see how you can then split this up and have personal conversations with people you might have never met otherwise. To sum up, a very interesting discussion on methodologies that basically have become part of our everyday life over the last couple of months. Thanks a lot to all the participants in my group.
Thank you, Matthias. Oh, you was running quickly, but I hope you understood. And is someone who likes to add? Leo, is someone? You can see it? No? No, for the moment, no, nobody. So it means that Matthias has reported well all points, and I ask Irina to give us some short report about the group.
Hi. Thank you. Firstly, good afternoon or good evening to some of them. Thank you, Carmen, for inviting to the conference. And we had really very good and intensive, I would say, discussion on the working with youth and the after Corona pandemic, so which influences the Corona pandemic had on the youth work and on also on our lives. I think this is now the topic that we were discussing really intense, like that life changed and how it did. I would like to share my screen and to show which nice mind map we produced during the our discussion. Just before I start, we had three small inputs. One was from my side, talking about our Danube Youth participation projects and our intention to create the Danube Youth Network in the future, motivating and empowering young people along the Danube region. Then Tomislav Milunov from Serbia, he showed a really very nice presentation telling how the young people, more than 200 or even more volunteers, were active in the small city in Serbia, helping the elderly to buy things, to make some arrangements for them. So they were really very active. And then was the input from young girl, Constanta from Moldova. She is also coordinating the small volunteering movement and the rural areas in Moldova. And we had even some participants also from Moldova. This is the, I think, very interesting situation, who are neighbors almost in the same cities, but they learned each other here in the online conference in Ulm, but they are from the same city, from Moldova. So I think this is the greatest experience ever, can be just put like the plus the Corona pandemic, that people get to know each other. And she joined the workshop just because she saw in the program that the young girl from Moldova will be speaking. So this is also the one good sign to show that young people have to speak. We just were fighting a little bit with translation, but anyway, I think it worked. It worked. Okay, so can I now share? Yes, I can share my screen. So just 2 minutes, maybe. I will not go to all the details of I just wanted to show that instead of flip chart, very now small, but we tried to use like youth work during the Corona time and the positive, negative effects, how influenced. It was like the key question: how Corona influenced our work and our life now. And success and the failures we had, or some problems that we had, and some tools and methods that we had the least time. But I would say now the positive effects, just a little bit to zoom, some positive effects that the Corona were, so to say, pushing the digitalization all over the world. So this is something that not some strategies or something, not the authorities, but the virus. So this is something very interesting, and I think positive effect. From one side, that people slowed down their lives a little bit. They started to rethink their lives and values, and their volunteering. I would say that this is what I wanted to to put like on the first page. The volunteering increased in many cities. For example, Serbia example said that volunteering increased. And the information that you have to become the influence, not the influence, the flow of information increased also very high, and that there were some skills needed to structure all this information and to make all your thoughts into very, very good structured way, to speak not that much. This was the positive ways of Corona, like not too much talking, but trying to get to the point directly. Negative events that there was many mentioned about the online schooling, online teaching, because like working with young people and 27, there was this the feeling that you are 27 24/7 online and all the time in screen, which influences also young people, which influence your health and your mind, which stress you also a little bit, that you don't have the time that you went to school and then you come back home. So everything is like, there are no borders anymore. So this was like some negative effects. also the emotional, this I think the most also important thing that is happening now, and we have to consider this emotional influence and emotional effect on the young people, on the teens who are now dropping out of school, like not dropping out of school, but they didn't attend school, they stayed at home. We don't know for now how long it's going to be still coronavirus, so on. So how long they have to be the social isolation. Now we know that the lockdown is not everywhere. We try to open the border, so on, but still, which influence it will have on the future of these like few months sitting at home, nobody knows for now. So we can keep an eye on it, on that. Has to move a little bit. Yeah. Well, some successes and failures. So people getting connected, I would say, on the local level, the connection started, and the trust built between the generations. I think this is also a very interesting fact about the young people trying to volunteer. And first, they needed to do this to build a trust to the elderly, especially in the Southeast Europe. You know, the trust is very important issue, and not all the not all elderly can give you the money directly for you to go buy shopping. So it was the really many challenges for young people to overcome these obstacles and to show them that they are trustworthy. Very nice example from Tomislav from Serbia, that a local authority even gave them some accreditations. They supported them. They gave them money for some advertising, that they can show this trust to the elderly people for them to get into contact with them. So this is something very interesting moment, what this rejection from the elderly side to the conflict of generations. So you can see some of the rejection from the elderly side to use some devices. They say no, we will not switch to online tools and try to communicate with them. So this, you see some challenges going on everywhere. Tools and methods, I think I will not stay so much there. There was some platforms mentioned that you can use, for example, some language learning platforms during Corona times when you have time. But what I liked from Romania input, that they have mostly elderly people in their activities, and they say we started making personal calls to people who are we working with, just to ask how are you doing, just to ask if everything is okay, and that gave to the people this feeling of connection and closure. So this was like, you don't have to invent something, I don't know, online conferencing, just call the person and ask. This sounds simple, but this is sometimes what we do need. And last but not least, oops, yeah, so what we do need for some just thoughts, like was kind of brainstorming, what do we need to do for the young people? We need to teach them. So I think the most point that was stressed, to teach the young people to adjust, because this environmental changing so fast. This is what we have to teach them, how to be proactive, how to not get lost in this flow of information, to get this direction, to support, because if you Google online tools, you can find thousands of them, but then they need some support not to get lost in all this flow. So this is map. I even can share maybe later with you the link, and everyone can join and go through it. So this is our event. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Irina. This was also a rapid.
Yeah, I was trying. I don't know how much time do I have, so that I'm just trying to be very, very fast.
But it makes us known that you have discussed a lot, and it was very inspiring. Thank you a lot. And keep in contact and continue. Yeah. Now up to Stefan and the group 4, CARE.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you very much. So this is the workshop 4, new care models and impacts. So we had we had how do I say, a very good group, very interesting participants, and we started with a presentation with Natasha Todorovic and Milutin Vracevic from the Red Cross in Serbia, who do amazing work in the care field. In our opinion, very practical, very encouraging, very professional demonstration what they currently did also under the special COVID-19 situation. Then, which was followed by Katarina Mardarovic with the home care services in Moldova that she's been doing there for the last 10 years to see. Also, they are very practical things that happened, you know, and what is the real situation, which I also think is really important with this care issue. You really touch base, you really touch hurting people, you touch the needs of the older generation, and it was very interesting. And also we even got a up-to-date situation from Belgrade. What happens, you know, after 40 days of tough lockdown? They explained to us a little bit what is happening now, where is the violence is coming out because of this strict lockdown, and what is the situation. So this was also some current events who come by this COVID-19 situation. So what we then did, I'm gonna share now also my screen that we can see how we proceeded. So after having these presentations, we went we just put two sides in here. So we asked, you know, what is the practical steps you see in the above left part, and what is the systematic steps. So this was the first phase. We said, you know, what can we do practically? We also can confirm, which is really a good thing, that solidarity in general was the most appreciated or the most positive effect from COVID-19, which we earlier heard also from Irina. We heard it from the youth. So this is important. And then we were just seeing, you know, that we say, no, what can we do concretely? What can we do on a system level? You say, I don't know, practical steps, diversify on the local level, activating seniors also in voluntary structure. So it's great to have the youth, but it's also this peer-to-peer and from the elderly generation. So we analyze these practical steps and the systematic steps. Just to put an example, that we said, you know, we have a current problem also for a double or multiple discrimination. You see, man, if you are a Roma, if you're above 65, if you're a woman, so there's a lot of categories where multiple discrimination happens. And actually, I can also confirm this very well corresponded to the two lectures which we had in the morning, which were of course also in the field of care. It unfortunately, most of the members did not participate early in the lectures, but it was just for me, it was very interesting as a moderator to see how well to the point where also the two presentations in the morning. And then if you see these steps 1 to 7, we just tried to do some, you know, how could we, what must be done? What is the priority? So it's a little bit playful, of course, you know, but it's a joint process, and we came into agreement. So we said, you know, we need more data. There's always not enough data, and that's why also what Professor Stoilova in the morning said, we need to desegregate. We need, what is 65? You know, you just put them in the category. There's very, I don't know, healthy, fit, great people under this age group, and they come all of a sudden under the lockdown, and boom, they get into this category, just like Professor Dr. Molenkov said also in her lecture, that it's really a violation of the human rights. So and then we went on, you know, we need this recognition for the care workers. We need access to reliable information. And you can go this through. So we're going to share this eventually also to the members, or however Carmen and her team wants to share it eventually. But I think if what I see, it's really very good to see the interlinking from the different workshops, which you will do for sure. But just we experience really that it's really interesting. That what also the other results and how we can really interlink them and get active also what can be done. Another aspect I can say was that we have to come to the target group, that they also co-create, co-design in the policy level, and the measures being the experts, you know. So this is also lacking, especially, you know, just with this categorization like age, which is not enough. And then communication in general, we can see, is a major was a major need, again, on all levels, on the local levels, between the authorities and the people living, or the patients, wherever, but also the volunteers helping each other. So communication levels up all the way up to the policy level is really a very, very urgent. And then all the way to like 5, 6, that also in the mass media, we have to positively influence giving age a better picture. So this idea of being, what is my life goal? Be young, rich, and healthy. It's just, it is unfair, you know. So we're discriminating people. So, and also get this more into the mass media also. And then, of course, what we did today, actually, you see that point 7, it was to have this transnational learning structure where we can learn from each other and develop things, develop projects, and creating this impact. So this was kind of creatively now jumping a little bit through this presentation, but I'm sure it will be shared. And we had a very good group, again, tough experts, you know, who really know the ground, who really know the realities in different countries. So thanks again to Carmen and the Leo team for picking, you know, you know, this is handpicked. We are aware of it, but it was a very interesting group. Thank you very much. So from working group 4. Thank you.
Thank you, Stefan. We are all overloaded by so a lot of interesting information, and we need time to reflect, but it's not the last time that we meet us, and so we bring it in our mind, and after we will step by step, how to say, try to refine and to react and so on. Now I asked the number 5, and I think it's up to Oliveira, the group migration.
You, me?
Yeah.
I'm glad. Hello to everybody again. So workshops with the name Effects of the Migration on People Remaining in Countries of Departure in Eastern Europe has shown clearly that the notion of vulnerability is accompanied with the empowerment. We have heard 2 presentations of researchers on the topic migration in East European countries. Dr. Anna Luleva presented results on her anthropological and ethnographic research dedicated to the status of migrant women in temporary work in Italy. Respondents worked as caregivers through numerous interviews with older women and research on working conditions in Italy, but above all, the familialistic social contract in Bulgaria, so that people who decide to take the step, or women, mostly women, are not only victims of society and the system, nor are irresponsible mothers and wives, which is most provide stereotype. It is primarily a matter of persons who voluntarily and consciously entered the new social contracts, through them as caregivers who provided both moral and emotional support to their clients, and they further self-realized. Above all, they achieved the goal, or I wouldn't not make such a comparison, but very important it is that they achieved the goal of economic empowerment of their families at home. Dr. Luleva proves that it's not just a matter of work. So it's not just a work, but it is a question of the moral economy of the work related to care. We had actually opportunity to share an interdisciplinary session. The second research was presented to us by Mrs. Stajkuts, an artist, actress who, together with colleagues who also belong to the field of culture and art, researched the concept or notion of home and the consequences that those who stay in departure countries after migrants have gone face. Such extremely complex topics can, and I would say must, be explored only interdisciplinary. The group of Homing Project has undergone actions in Romania, actually in Timisoara, live, but also virtually in conversation with numerous actors of migrant stories around the world. The question in which direction is home? How does home sound like? Should I stay or should I go? How does home taste like? How you arrived home? Why are we staying? Why is the grass always greener on the other side? So, where is a home? That was the point question. And we agreed when we look upon these questions from the point of view from European citizen, we agreed that we should take some personal actions, not only to to wait some policy from European Union, although that is very important question. We are very glad to have this at the same time opposite but very similar and very important approaches. And I personally find the similarities and the need to cooperate with both further researchers, with Mrs. Luleva and Mrs. Stajkuts. So Danube Networks could have a lot of jobs to do in the future. Yeah, together with all of you, and in creating a new solidarity and to reinvent, I would say, to reinvent Europe. So we had, I think that we had, Simon, 8 or 10 participants. Is that the 10 participants? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Olivera. It was very interesting, inspiring, and I think there's a lot to do. And I think seniors can also not only be storytellers, but also researchers in this field. Let us reflect about. By the way, I will present Olivera as a new member of our Eloy team. So officially welcome. And now you know, when you are in contact with us, this is Olivera. So next group is a group called Cultural Treasure, and it's up to Jürgen Morasch.
Hello, my name is Jürgen Morasch from the Cultural and the Social Department of the City of Ulm. I had the pleasure to do the moderation for the workshop number 6, Intangible Cultural Heritage, and how it can work as a social kit for European awareness. Like now, first, what is intangible cultural heritage? There is, as you all know, there's a definition by the UNESCO, and 2003 there was made an approach to also save or secure cultural heritage that you can't touch, that you can't, like, not only monuments are cultural heritage, not only houses, architecture, but also habits. So we had 3 really great presentations of Victoria Konosenko from Eloy and Anna Slibut from Timisoara from the Writers League, and from Emilia Velikova from the Ruse University in Bulgaria. And they all showed what intangible cultural heritage could look like, or does look in the certain communities in the regions, and how it works as a unifying element for the communities. And afterward, we also discussed how it can be a contribution to bring unity to the whole European community. So in the presentation of Victoria Kurosenko, for example, we had this habit with the eggs, like on Eastern, that you just hit 2 eggs against each other, and that's a habit that other Eastern European countries also have, which has a lot of meaning, like different meanings in different European cultures. We had the presentation of Anna Slibud, where she was talking a lot about clothes and traditions, traditional costumes that play a major role in the region of Timișoara. And we had a presentation about the Bread Connects project of Emilia Velikova in Bulgaria. And that was really interesting because bread is really a big connector, not only in Bulgaria, but also around the Donau region and maybe in whole Europe, like sharing recipes about how to bake bread, prepare bread together. It's a big symbol of community and sharing responsibility also. So yeah, we had interesting discussions afterwards, because a gentleman from the UK joined the discussion and asked, how can food and bread be an intangible cultural heritage as you can touch it? You can, it's material. So why is it intangible? And so it was pointed out that yes, you can touch it, you can eat it, and it's still material and it transforms in different materials. But the recipes and the traditions that go alongside with food, these are intangible. Like if like the younger generations don't learn these recipes from the older generations, then they get forgotten, and then this immaterial, intangible knowledge, if it gets lost, you also don't have the material, like the material cultural heritage. Now, the topic was how can it work as a societal kit for European awareness? First of all, of course, if you think about intangible cultural heritage, of traditions, of special things people do in certain communities and regions in Europe, you will have to ask yourself, what's the uniting part in a European context? Like what is the uniting thing about this, as everything seems to be so different, and every group has different traditions and different heritages. And we came to the point that exactly this is, or we realized that this diversity is a distinguishing attribute of the European cultural heritage. There's no something like a common one European cultural heritage, but we have to speak in plural. There's many differences, and this diversity is a specialty of Europe, and understanding the intangible cultural heritage of different communities helps with intercultural dialogue and encourages mutual respect for other ways of life, and unifies us as a European community.
Yuri, thanks a lot. I have the impression we could make a conference based on each working group, because it's so rich what we hear and what we have to discuss. Thank you a lot. So up to group 7. And
yeah, hi.
It's Ina.
Yes, hi, it's me, Ina. I'm from BAXO, the German National Association of Older Persons or Citizens Organizations. And yeah, it's a pleasure to be here, Carmen. Thanks for the invitation. And I'm glad to be able now to participate also in one of these great exchanges that I have heard so much about. And yeah, our working group was focusing on age-friendly cities. And we had a very diverse group and diverse presentations going down from kind of the European level, really explaining also globally what the Age-Friendly Cities project is, where it comes from. It started at WHO in 2007. And so Julia Vadou from Age Platform Europe told us a bit about what they do at European level and how they apply this global concept. And then we had a presentation by Tihomir Silak from the Open University Zagreb, who pointed out kind of a comparative aspects as well, looking at active aging policy in the region. And then finally, we were really looking at a very small unit, let's say, looking at ambient assisted living in the city of Ulm, through a presentation by Sarah Meyer from Agaplesion. And yeah, so I just wanted to give you a couple of points that we discussed after the workshop that were the most important points basically that we made. And first of all, for those that don't know the Age-Friendly Cities project and how it started, for us, really the most important point of it is its basic principle, which is that the experts are the older people themselves. So we can't turn a city more age-friendly if we only talk among ourselves, among policymakers, about among researchers, but we really need to consult older people themselves. And while we acknowledge that this was really the most important principle for the concept of turning a city more age-friendly, we also said that really it is the biggest challenge as well, because of course those people which most need a city or a community or environment in general to become a better place to live in are those that are most difficult to access as well. So that's where, when we also spoke about diversity and marginalized groups and really the difficulty of bringing them in. And Tihomir also shared the experience of including, for example, people from Roma and migrant backgrounds, refugees and so on, and how difficult it really is to include them in such a project and this bottom-up approach, which we believe is very important. That brings me also to another point that we thought was very important also when we heard about this great possibilities of using technologies that Sarah Meyer presented, which is the point about inequalities. I mean, it's great to have all of these very advanced ambient assisted living solutions, but we really asked ourselves, how much is this actually going to be available and accessible for the larger population? And in relation to inequalities, Tihomir also really raised his worry about having more investments in the whole of Europe and the whole region, also the eastern part, that there really needs to be a greater focus on this as well. And then, which I think is something which the discussion really became clear, is how important it is to have synergies between civil society organizations on the one side, research on the other side, and the policymakers as well. And when we talk about civil society, not only about really those organizations that provide services, but also the ones that do advocacy. And that we really need to connect, talk to each other, that we need this ecosystem, because of course it's great if researchers do great work, but if they don't consult with the end users, then yeah, it's a pity. And then we also really need to make a connection to the policymakers to be sure that a larger population can be reached. And all of this in a multidisciplinary way, so that we really bring groups from different backgrounds together so that we get a really holistic approach. And I think that yeah, brings me back to the age-friendly cities concept, which by the way it was structured really made sure that yeah, all stakeholders come together and look at the same topic, age-friendly cities, from different angles, and most importantly, really do this from the bottom up, including older people. And yeah, I think I'm looking at the time as well, so I'm gonna stop here.
Thank you, Ina. It was also very interesting, and I think it will touch us in some way in the next years, all of us and our communities, and it will be good that we are involved in and that we are in contact and with the politicians, and that we are also contact each other for develop good models and have good how to say demands on policy and economy and so on. Thank you very much. And last but not least, the last group, 8. And Diana is the reporter, if I remember well. Yes.
Yes, hello, my name is Diana Bayer and I'm working for the City of Ulm in the Women's Office. Our workshop number 8 was named Violence Against Women and New Approaches of Empowerment, a subject that is very important and not an easy one. We had 3 great experts in our workshop. That was the first one was Bridget Penhale. She's from the University of East Anglia in Great Britain. Many years she was a social worker and she was working with elderly people, and now she's a reader in mental health of older people and a psychologist. And it was very interesting to hear about violence against older people, because usually we're talking about violence in partnerships, in domestic violence, and often or violence against children, but the elderly people are often forgotten, or there even are no studies about the situation of elderly people and their and the violence against them. So she gave us a lot of many good impressions, that some of the elderly people are for 30 or 40 years suffered violence. Others suffer violence because they needed help from other people. And it's very interesting that usually there is no awareness in the public, and it's not visible that those people are actually victims of violence. We had 2 other experts as well, Katarina Scott from Slovakia and Jelena Brikic from Serbia, and they work in mother centers, which is a totally different way to actually see how violence.
Wenn ich sie aufrufe, dass du zeigst, wo das ist.
So, okay. It's the Mother Centers International Network from Empowerment is a grassroots organization. They work with a lot of volunteers. 80% of the work is done by volunteers, which is very impressive, I think. 20% are experts, and they actually are looking that they are sorry, my husband. They're working with the women that suffered violence, and they really try to give them help, to show them ways out, and they have many volunteers that actually support the women to get out of the spiral of violence. what was very interesting is that actually during the pandemic, there weren't many information about the extent of violence against elderly women and other women, but all the experts say that it's very likely that the amount of violence increased during that time, because if you're locked down and you don't have the possibility to make a call or reach your help, it's getting very dangerous at home. The impression of the different measures that the experts are working on was very good and very impressive. And after we had the input, we started a discussion on how can we actually work on prevention for more respect in society, because if there's violence against women, there's usually a lack of respect and acceptance. And we were talking about that it's very important that prevention starts in school, that children, girls and boys actually are made strong, that they can become more self-esteem, and that they understand that they have a right for a life without violence, so that the children already know it's not normal that violence exists in families, for example, and that you have to make a cut or actually ask for help. The other part was that that society has to make a statement that we want to live in a society without violence. We were talking about the 70s, and that in the 70s it was not so normal that violence in partnerships is something that shouldn't be. It was often said that the women might be, it's the fault of the women, and the women were ashamed to ask for help. And I think it's very important that in society we have the discussion that violence is not something that can be accepted, that the politicians actually help to make women's shelters, and that civil society also, from civil society there's also help for the women. And empowerment and self-esteem is actually very important to find a way out for violence. That was about it.
Thank you, Diana. Another very important field of learning, of acting, and between protection and empowerment. We have so a lot of impulse now, and how we can go forward. It was a long day, and I think all are very tired now, but let us make just some remarks, collecting some ideas, how we can take profit of this big input of this morning and of the work groups in the work group we had been, and now for to cooperate, for to push, and for to realize something. Tomorrow we will continue, and we will have a lot of presentations, and Vika will present the program for tomorrow, but just some short reflections. We like to make some whiteboard, but I think it's quite late now, and so we will not stop your evening, but just, and for to say, I had some emails, what's about participants list. Leo, can you show that we have one? And we overloaded by work that we forgot to send it to you, but we will do it this evening. And then you will see that you will get a link, and in this link you will see the link is in the chat. The link is in the chat. But we will send it also to you by mail, and you will see, you can have a look. And for those who have sent us a photo, it's easier to recognize people. For the others, you have to discover yourself. But perhaps if you come tomorrow and you will continue, it's easier. So this is one way to be in contact, but please let us make some reflections about this day and looking for some proposals how we can take profit of. Ist mal wieder vorne? Stefan, he spoke about interlink results. Interlink not only inside of one group, but if I understood well, interlink between different groups. How we can take profit of what we have done and what we know and what we have.
That's the challenge, I would say. But for me, there is a lot of things you really would I mean, I don't know, with so many obligations running, but you would really have to exert somehow these different results, and I think it would be a substantial, interesting result that you could produce, because you have youth, you have the smart, you have the city perspective, we have the local perspective, so that's I don't know, maybe we need some more experts or some from academia, but I think it would be worthwhile and fruitful.
Thank you, Stefan. Other remarks? Oh, you are really tired, it seems, but nevertheless, Marcus, go on.
Yeah, hello. So first of all, thank you very much for this good exchange and the different topics and requirements. And yeah, what I suggest is that maybe we can bring all these topics and the requirements together, and yeah, to make a statement where we can make a position for this conference and for the Danube Networkers and all the other partners who are here involved, to make clear what we need and what we need from the European Commission, and maybe also from the State Ministerium. And yeah, so I suggest to make a position paper where we bring the different positions, aspects together, and say what we want and what we need. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcus. This is a very good proposal. It's challenging, it's work, but it would be necessary. What do you think about and how we can realize it? First,
comment. I would have to have just one more aspect. So I agree on what Marcus said, but one more aspect. I was surprised, I must say, by the speech from the commissioner, because actually it was based on. It was just my notes, but it was based on compassion, care, and solidarity. So and then we had this meeting just before Corona here in Stuttgart on this European pillar for social rights. So it could be also connected to this, because actually, it's the European pillar for social rights, which comes to this what Dr. Mollenkopf said. Just I know the question will be who's going to do it and how you want to do it, but also this European pillar for social rights, I think, would be one important milestone, because there is the large charitable federations in there. There is the unions are in there, so also there could be placed one important message, because the social issues are still on the nation state, and that's it. So we are not very much on a systematic level yet.
Can I just offer a thought? I don't know whether I'm live or not.
Yes.
Right. The thought is this, that having been part of the Third Age movement for 20 odd years, I, on the one hand, can hear many familiar topics being raised that were raised many years ago. And that leads me to think that the work goes on and it requires a continual effort. The other thought I have is that people at the top of the tree, as it were, produce statements and produce ideas. The real success of the work that Carmen and others have done is really at the local level, when it's translated into action within individual communities. And that is probably the most difficult, but also the most rewarding part of the work that is done. So I want to congratulate, obviously, Carmen on the initiative, one of many, many that she has made over the years, and to congratulate those of you who have revealed the activities you're operating within your own communities, and congratulate you and wish that you have the best of luck in continuing this. I'm now getting to the stage where I'm actually going to retire. I actually retired professionally 30 years ago, but I think it's almost time for me to retire from this, because I probably am now repeating too many of the things I've said before. So thanks to you all. It's been a very interesting day.
Thank you, Stan. There are other persons who would like to say something. Markus, another.
Yeah, I have a proposal for the work. Maybe the first step could be that every speaker or presenter of the results of the workshops can make a short text about the content and the important requirements. So we have a first base on a resolution or something like that. It is not the whole work, but it is the first step.
Yeah. Mm.
Thank you, Markus. I agree. It was just the same idea. It would be helpful to have small statements from all groups, not the whole. It's impossible to have the whole, but the very important points. And then we can send it to all, and perhaps we can form a group and make an online meeting and to discuss about, and really to realize a statement which is good for politicians, but also for communities and also for elderlies. And so we have a continuity, because it's easy, not easy to make such a conference, really it isn't, but it's easy to speak. But if we like to empower, and if we like to influence and to take responsibility, it is not to stop here today and to say, oh, it was very interesting and thank you, team of Ulm, but to continue. And we have seen today that the online means are helping us to cooperate in a very good and in a very quick way, and we don't lose so much time and money to bring together people. Surely we like to meet us, and we will meet us, but also for working, it's really very helpful. And so let us take profit. And as you know, we intend to make a real meeting next year if Corona is is permitting us, but it's a long time. And I think in our workshop it was clear we have to save the context, and we have to keep the feelings, and we have to do something in continuity, because if not, so a lot of ideas and they are disparate and they will be lost. So let us ask the how to say, the moderators or the speakers of the groups, if they are willing to make a small report or a small statement. This would be the first step. I see there are some, Diana, Marcos, there are others, I hope. I don't see well, but we have 4 screens. And this is really great. It's so late and we have 83 persons together. Since this morning, it had been more than 190 this afternoon. And this is good because often this kind of conferences, oh, I click and I'm, how to say, I'm a participant, but I never be in. And we can say we had a lot of people all the day being in. And so I asked also Matthias to transfer this message to the state ministry because they helped us to make this conference, and it is important to let them know it has a big value. But it's not the end of our conference, even if not all are able to come tomorrow, because we are a network of networks. And you saw it today, it's Acapedia, but there had been a lot of sisters from this So Optimist, and they will have a meeting tomorrow morning, the So Optimist from the Danube region. There will representatives from EURAC, EFOS, and DANET in a group. And these are all networks, and we can listen a little bit what they are doing in this time, and if we can make a crossover of our activities. And we have a lot of institutions presenting their work tomorrow morning. And so I ask Victoria to make known on the screen and to explain what we will do in the morning, but also to make known what we will do in the evening.
So dear participants, I'm also very, very glad that there's so many of us still here. That shows that the topics are very interesting for you, and we're glad that, you know, that the work that has been done can be also, you know, used and talked about. And I would like to present, because it's not over, we have the second day tomorrow, and I would ask Leona to share the website of the conference so I can present you the program. So you will find the program just where it was. The 10th is over, and then 11th, it consists, as of tomorrow, consists more or less of 2 parts. It's, oh, it's gone again. Why is it gone? Okay, here we go again. So 11th, if you click on the 11th, the first part is NGO presentations. We prepared a very big program for you according to your interest. The first part starts from 9 till 10:30. It's going to be a presentation of the project DENTA, Discovering European Neighbors in the Third Age. So if you're interested, please join. There is also a short description attached. Parallel, there's going to be a presentation of the network SC Danube, So Optimist International. Also, you can see the moderators next to it and short information on the website. After that, it's going to be the same meeting, but it will go just further. So you can just join and stay till the end if those organizations, you'd be interested to connect to those organizations or to know more about them. 10:30 till 11, organization from Ulm, Sieste, and Mine, it's Mother Centers International Network. Those of you who have been to the workshop 8 have got to know them already. And Agapedia, of course, that was today presented by Stefan Barth and Irina. also is going to hold a presentation. So if you want to know, get to know the organization a bit more in detail and connect, please join this presentation. You also see the websites down there in short descriptions. After that, at 11 till 12 o'clock, there's going to be the presentation of big, not so fast, please. The presentation of big networks, European Federation of Older Persons, EURAC, and European Federation of Older Students, EFOS, and also our Danube-Networkers for Europe, as big networks will be presented in one meeting. Then parallel, there's going to be a presentation of organizations that are actually members of DANET, but it will be more with the focus on their work also, not only within the framework of DANET, but also in general. Center for Studies in Cultural Development, Zaprokul, the Writers League, and Public Open University Zagreb. Those institutions you have also probably met at the conference today. And as I said, descriptions and links are there as well. And from 12 to 13, you will see the presentations of Donau-Büro, Danube office of Ulm, Neu-Ulm, organizations from Ukraine, Eco-Resource. It's organizations that has to do with ecological matters and questions, and University of Ruse, that you also probably have met in the workshops or at the presentations, and the Third Age University of Slovenia, Ljubljana. And as I said, we will send you the links in the evening with the detailed descriptions, which meeting stands for what organizations, and you feel free to just join from the beginning to the end. But as I said, some of the organizations, because we received really many registrations, so some organizations will have to be presented in parallel. In the evening, we will be very happy to greet you at our social evening. We'll also publish the program on the website this evening, and social evening takes place starting from 6 in the evening till 8. This is a virtual, it actually comes also from our experience of come together sessions. From those of you who have been with us for a long time, know already our Sunday sessions. It's a more or less a come together in times of Corona, because we started the sessions like this, and now they are a big part of our projects and also help us foster our networks. So if you know the format, I'm pretty sure you would want to join again, because it's going to be a special session. If you don't know it, then you should join, because it's really something special. It's an open session with music, singing, dancing, different cultural presentations. And what makes it special, that Gisela Erler is the State Councillor for Civil Society and Civic Participation of the State Ministry of Baden-Württemberg, is going to say some opening words, and she's going to honor the winners of the Kodanek competition that you probably as well heard of. And we'll also present or say a couple of words about our digital collection, Living in the Time of Corona, that we also have started a while ago. So please join. We will send you the links to both. It doesn't matter if you registered for it or not. Maybe you change your mind, maybe you have time. So you all receive those links. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact us. And we will be very, very happy to see you tomorrow.
You're really invited to come in the morning and to join us in the evening. But now I think it's time to say goodbye for you, to have a nice Friday evening, and for us to go to work. As Victoria said, we will send you the addresses, we will send you the program for tomorrow morning. I have to say before ending, many thanks to my team, to our team. It was so great in the last weeks, and I asked Leo to, by photo, to make known the persons behind all this organization. We started 3 months ago, and a lot of things, especially technical things, had been unknown for us. But we asked, we discussed, we had help, and so we step by step created this organization, and I think it was for us a big experience, and we had been a little bit nervous if all will function. But I have the impression that all has functioned well today, and I hope it will function also tomorrow. And it makes known and possible, and you can also take it as examples that NGOs are able, even if they are not technically the most experts of all, to do something. And we, if you can see, we are a very mixed team. And especially I will thank to Leo, he made a big work to take off all the impulse we had and to try it and to show it to us, and we discussed and so on. Many thanks, Leonhard, and many thanks to Victoria for the overall organization. You have seen she worked very long last night to send you the links. I will thank Simon. He was always ready to do what we needed to do and to make the coming together sessions, and Carmen for all the preparation work, but also for the Denta work. And so, and latest Olivera is joining us, and Claudia, she is not here this evening, but she was here this afternoon, and now Ellie will come in. And so I think so intergenerational and so engaged team, it's so a pleasure, and it makes us so powerful. And this is what I will give to you from all of us. It was a lot of work. It is a lot of work. It will be tomorrow, but it makes also fun. Thank you a lot, my team, and to all of you coming here. You see here also some voluntary working people, always ready to help. And behind there are a lot of people. So Danube-Networkers group, you will see them tomorrow, about tomorrow. It's very important. It's so a lot, and in all countries. And then I have to say, we have a good connection with partners in the Danube countries. And especially I would like to thank Emily and Zefka and Rose and Anna and Timisoara and so a lot of others. It would be a long list to name. Also Markus and Duzana and Tiomir, who are in support of Dani. Thank you to all of you to widespread our idea and to support it and to continue with us. Thank you and have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Carmen.
Bye-bye.
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 Sana, bye-bye.
Bye.
Carmen, bye-bye.
Mulțumesc, Otilia.
Bye.
It was a really great experience with you guys.
Great job.
Hope to see you again tomorrow.
Yes.